So having passed that, I'd like to just officially welcome everybody, but also just take a moment to just unmute everybody and see if we can get everyone to just welcome themselves and tell us where you're joining from, and let's take this baby on the road. All right. So I'll mute myself and just allow everybody to just take a moment and just, introduce themselves.
Hi, an excellent afternoon, Mr. Awesome, Dr. Awesome. An excellent afternoon this is Dr. Harry Benjamin, and I'm streaming from Lagos, Nigeria. Grateful for the invitation to be here. Thank you for the invite.
Afternoon, everybody. Afternoon, Josh. I'm actually Tebogo, guys. My name comes up as Lesejo. So my niece was using my account, my Zoom account, so I forgot to change the names around. But my name is Tebogo Ngoye. I'm in Joburg, and welcome and thank you for inviting us to this lovely masterclass.
As co-host, I've renamed her account for her to Tebogo, which is what it is. And by the way, she's our host. Who's gonna go next?
Okay. Let me go. Oh, okay. Hey, ladies first.
Okay. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Ariola Deni. I'm joining you from Lagos, Nigeria. I'm a corporate wellness coach. And thank you for making me part of this, Mind Your Mind. And we're looking at really becoming more grounded in gratitude. Thank you.
Okay, I'm Nati Manyati, coming from Midrand, South Africa. This is our second time and attending this Mind Your Mind conference. Thank you so much.
All right, great. I see there are still some people who are still yet to introduce themselves. We just do that for the next 1 minute, and then we move into the business of the day.
Hello.
All right. Yes, go ahead.
Hello, everybody. My name is Dolly, and I'm listening from Johannesburg.
All right. Welcome, Dolly. Okay, I guess we'll just move on and move ahead. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. My name is Joshua Awesome, and I founded African Institute of a Mind in 2019 with an intention to specifically just try and assist us Africans with regards to minding our minds one mind at a time. And so in the midst of this whole season, we thought it was apt to just begin to host monthly Mind Your Mind conferences. So the entire gathering started on my birthday, and I was privileged to actually host a friend of mine based in Washington, D.C. She had worked for Accenture for about a decade to 2 decades. And we had a very profound event that day. So officially, every April 16, we will have what is called the World Awesome Day. It's going to be an annual event, but every month afterwards, we're going to have the Mind Your Mind meetings like this. Having said that, last month, we hosted another version of this. And we were privileged to have one of my colleagues who's also on this call, Dr. Harry Benjamin, who joined us and was one of the speakers. We also had another friend of mine, Dr. Maimuna Kadiri, who also joined us. And the third speaker was my friend from California. His name is Bill Duane. Bill Duane looked after the entire well-being of Google for over a decade to, was it over a decade? Anyway, I don't know, but he basically had worked for Google, and he was chief wellness executive, call him the general superintendent in charge of wellness. But we're excited this session to have a woman and also a man, hopefully, who will be speaking to us around our focus today. Our first speaker is Ariola Adeniyi, who is chiming in from Lagos, Nigeria. She is a wellness coach, as she had indicated, but she also has a very interesting, I'll call it an executive wellness retreat. It's a center that basically looks after the well-being of people. It's quite interesting. When I visited that place, it looked very, very big and massive, bigger than I had ever thought. So it's an honor and a pleasure, a privilege to have Ariola joining us. I'd like to also just take a moment to also mention that everyone presenting will have 15 to 20 minutes, 15 minutes to present. And after their presentation, it will be curated with a Q&A session that will be led by Teboko Ngoyi. And then we'll go into what I call actionable advice, which will be based on each presenter's presentation. And then I will end with what I call a gratitude challenge that I will unpack and explain to everybody. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We're going to be experiencing some hiccups like this in between this experience, where you would hear some children in the background. You know, they're trying to show you that they also own the space, and we need to just accommodate them. So I think it's important that I mention that. But over to you, Teboko. I'd like you to just take charge right now as I mute myself. Thank you.
Afternoon, everyone. As Josh has said, we're basically in this especially today's session is regarding gratitude. You know, being grounded, as Dr. Ariona said, being grounded in in gratitude and understanding and appreciating our reality and loving the lives that we lead. So one of the things that I'd just like to set a couple of ground rules for us is if we can all just disconnect our videos besides our speaker. So our speaker that will be our first speaker, which is Ariona. Ariona, if you can just keep your video on, but if everybody else can just switch off their video. And then if you have questions, obviously you'll have to switch your video back on. It's just a couple of ground rules. And also, if you do have questions, if you can just raise your hand for the questions, and then we'll get to you and we'll respond to whatever questions it is that you have. If we can also please mute our mics as well, it would be greatly appreciated. So that's just a bit of ground rules from us. I'm going to hand over now to Arinola, and thank you very much for gracing us with your presence. We really are very grateful for you being here with us this afternoon.
Is the video on? Can you see me? Okay, so good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, but the video is on too, but I can't see myself.
We can see you. We're just going to position you. But if you have slides you want to share, I'll
leave out the slides because I'll leave out the slides. We'll just talk through this 15 minutes and so that we can all just get the most of it. Okay, right, so great.
Thank you.
But it would have been really nice to see myself. So are you trying to get that done? Okay, so we'll just move on with this. Is this my, I wonder why it's not even showing on my, you can see me now. Okay, all right. So, I feel good, da 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 da. I wish that I would, da 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 da. So good, dan dan, so nice, like I should be, dan 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 dan. So my first question to everybody this afternoon is, how do you feel? Truth is, that is the song that I hear when people are leaving the spa. You know, people of different demographics, different backgrounds, different everything. But when they are leaving, they do that song. The more dramatic ones will even dance with it and just tell me that they're feeling good. And then there's so much hugs and love and this going on. And all of us at the spa, the therapist and myself are like, wow. You know, so that's one rhetoric song feeling that we, and feedback that we get from people sharing our space with us. And I really used to wonder, why are they thanking me for a service they paid for? And meanwhile, they're at the reception and we are thanking them and telling them, oh, thank you for coming, we've taken your money and you're still thanking us. And that's because I now got to understand that gratitude is not something that is just a one-off. Gratitude is reciprocal, you know, so they're showing kindness for the kindness we have given them in form of that service. So thoughts are the language of the mind, feelings are the language of the body. So the way we feel and the way we think determine the state of our being. The way we think and the way we feel determine the state of our being. So I'm always very grateful for that feedback we get from our clients that come to the spa and leave with a better swag when they're going. I'm grateful for being in company of these great minds this afternoon, both the organizers and the people who have joined, spent their time to join with us. I'm grateful for the wonderful weather we have in Lagos today. I'm just looking through my window. I don't have to use air conditioner because it's so cool. It rained this morning. I'm grateful for the gift of another day. What are you grateful for today? You can just interact and just put that in the chat box. It's important to always know the state that we are in. That awareness helps us a lot. And then gratitude is a form of mental hygiene. We all know about our physical hygiene: brush your teeth, take your bath daily, eat the right food. We know about physical hygiene, but what about our mental hygiene? A lot of us upgrade our phones, our computers, our things more than we upgrade our minds. So I'm very grateful for Dr. Joshua for thinking it important to turn our eyes to the importance of making sure that we're aware of what is going on in our minds. So gratitude is a form of mental hygiene. Gratitude is a human emotion. Gratitude is the best medicine you can have for your body, your mind, and your spirit. And really, the treasure trove of quintessential health lies in the human endowment of the mind, the body, and the soul. And it's the responsibility of each and every one of us to have a joyful, energetic body, loving, compassionate heart, a reflective, alert mind, and lightness of body. Gratitude is a positive emotion. Gratitude literally lifts you up. And when you are lit up, hey, there's no stopping you. You become limitless. And the truth is, you always have feelings running through your body. Will always have feelings running through your body. And I always ask, what part of life do you live in? Are you in the unresourceful parts? And when we look at gratitude or human emotions, we can just divide them into two. The negative emotions, which are the low vibrational ones, the unresourceful states, the reactionary states, the anger, anxiety, fear, unforgiveness, competition, shame, guilt, judgment, sorrow, animosity, depression, resistance, overwhelm, frustration. Those don't serve us. So this afternoon, I want all of us to take our left hand and just dump every form of negativity or negative emotion you're feeling right now. So we're doing a dump thing now. You're dumping all those unresourceful emotions because they will not serve you. They won't get you to where you want to be. They will not help your situation. And then we quickly move along to the choices we make with our resourceful state, the positive emotions, the higher vibrations. And if it was before, when you're talking about vibrations and frequency and your state and these intangibles, it would have sounded like woo-woo. But now there are scientific studies and science to back the way we feel and how it affects our productivity, our success, our health, and all of that. The truth is that the negative emotions would create a nervous system chaos. But happiness, joy, gratitude is the best medicine. Because when you have them, you are well. Your immune system is improved. So what are those positive and resourceful states that we must choose and deliberately every day decide that this is where I want to live? Love, joy, happiness, gratitude, appreciation, confidence, abundance, excitement. Don't you ever see how kids are just always excited about everything? it's a good human emotion and positive emotion to cultivate. Harmony, you are more creative when you are happy, you are limitless, you have higher self-esteem. So we will decide and choose to stay in those life-empowering states. And the heart, in the midst of all of this, has a significant role to play in how grateful we are, how happy we are, and how energized that we are. And we can literally boost our immune system just by conjuring up positive emotions. Truth is, the mind does not know the difference between the reality and when you're just imagining it and putting yourselves ahead of that. So we've said it, gratitude is mental hygiene. Gratitude is a human emotion, but we need to cultivate it. It's not always easy because most of the time, by the time you get out of your home or you wake up in the morning, you've done your gratitude, you're grateful for the new day, you're grateful for the gift of your eyes, you're grateful for every little thing around you. But you step out of your house or you have certain conversations and those negative emotions of stress that won't serve you and all of that begin to set in. So that's where the self-regulation comes in, that you must deliberately and literally now know that, wow, I need to shift my emotions because the way that you feel actually determines what goes on around you. And the truth is, when you have more of the positive emotions, you begin to attract more of the positive things around you. So we must self-regulate. And the problem with that is that if you're not constantly aware of the connection between your body, your mind, and your spirit, you will easily lose it. Because most of us just live in our heads. We're too busy. There's too much stress going around. There's too much emotional things to handle. And so you must be able to self-regulate so that you can remain at those optimum levels. And the truth about this now, about wellness, well-being, happiness, gratitude, and all, is that they've come to the forefront of medicine. In 2017, the Nobel Prize for Physiology and Medicine went to 3 doctors who just studied the circadian cycle, our 24-hour biological clock. And it was said in the press that, wow, medicine is it's becoming recognized in our everyday lives, because those 24 hours, that cycle that we have is for a reason. And then even now, there are more scientists studying happiness. In some countries, they now have global national happiness indexes, not just GDPs. So we are finding that the intangibles are also very, very crucial to health, to well-being, to productivity, so life is changing. And it's also backed by science. These are all backed by science, especially the heart studies that are going on now. So if you look up the Heart Math Institute, which is in California later, your heart and math, one word, institute, they've made it so easy and so simple for us to become aware. And because they can measure it now, they've tested it, so it's become a good science. And even World Health Organization has defined health not just as the absence of illness, but the active state of our mental, emotional, physical being. So minding our minds and ensuring that those intangibles are well understood, this is the time for it. And we'll begin to have humane societies, humane workplaces, and then even us as people will become more compassionate, more caring, more loving. And I think this season that we are in, COVID-19 has brought that out in a lot of us. to be more compassionate, to be more grateful. We are grateful that we don't have it. We are grateful that those people that had it, some of them have recovered. And the ones that have lost their lives in the process, we shared the compassion with their families. So the whole world and life is becoming more, we're more aware of the intangibles and know that we are not happy because we are not grateful because we are happy. We are happy because we are grateful. And when you learn that even each day that we have is a gift, and when you're given a gift, what do? You return, you're grateful and you're thankful for that day. So things as simple as that. How do you connect with how to be grateful? What are the benefits of gratitude? You know, it's so intangible, but it plays a huge role in our successes, in our well-being, in our societies, in our workspace, and the world as a whole. So for me, when you self-regulate your emotions, your biology, and you change the way you think and feel about appreciation, gratitude, and all, it's a matter of choice versus reaction. And you know, with the mind, they're saying that we have 60 to 70,000 thoughts daily, literally. And studies have shown that out of those 60 to 70,000 thoughts, 90% of them are the same ones we had the day before, we had the week before, we had the month before, we had 2 months before, we had 6 months before then, 2 years before then, 10 years before then. So I think it's really time to mind our minds and begin to replace those thoughts that no longer serve us with what will serve us. So the benefits of gratitude include the fact that it boosts your immune system. You get a lot more energy. You are more optimistic about life. So you have enough energy to go about your day-to-day life and all of those things. And then it feeds your mind with better information. So you're able to make better decisions. You become more creative when you're grateful. You become more creative. And I'll state an example about how gratitude is working for me now. This morning, of all days, my Wi-Fi went off, my internet connection went off. I made the payment. Ordinarily, in like 10 minutes, it would connect it. It wasn't coming on. So I had to call the company several times. And I had to answer the same questions. Oh, what is your ID or that? Ordinarily, I've been set up, been put off before now. But because my mind is at rest and more emotionally stable, I've been able to do a lot of work this time that we're not over. Because what really affects us, that takes us out of these positive emotions, are those emotions of stress. And we are stressed on different levels, not only the physical, mental, emotional, you know, even the food we eat, if it's polluted, if it's too processed, if it's this. So we encounter, and that stress affects our body because we're whole beings. So, and when we are always on fight or flight, we will not enter into the healing state of the heart. We won't enter into the healing state. We won't have the rejuvenation because the body would always choose one of the two. So the benefits of gratitude are awesome. It's something we need to. So I was saying about how when I had to speak to 3 or 4 different officials, I wasn't thrown off. Ordinarily, I would have said, oh, but I answered that question before. But I did, and when this was fixed, I actually called them to say thank you. Ordinarily you say, oh, after all I paid, they should have done, so it's something, it's a process, it's a process. Knowledge is not power. Knowledge plus action is when it becomes power. So we're all learning this, and it's not easy. It's a process. You have to develop it over time, and the practice of it makes for progress, not perfection. practice is not perfect, but you now begin to make progress daily, but those choices, and you are constantly in recognition of what you need to do. And then quickly, how do you ensure that gratitude, you are grounded in gratitude and it becomes who you are? Some people have various methods, and some people will tell you, oh, I have a gratitude rock, or I hold on to something. Or for me, I just look at nature. I just look at the sky and I'm grateful it's another day. At different times of the day, I look up and I'm seeing different things. When you connect with nature, you're so happy, because that alone shows you what is possible in your life. The sun rises, the sun goes off, the sun, it rains, and you see a rainbow. And, so these are very intangible but powerful matrices that we all need to develop so that we begin to have healthier societies. And really, your health is your personal responsibility, and you have to make that choice daily or every hour. I think you're saying it's time.
Yes, I am.
I'm not saying things, I'm trying not to read it. So that's fine. That's fine. Okay.
But thank you so much.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Arinola. I'm going to open the floor to anyone who's got questions. And if you do have questions for Arinola, please can you just put your hand up, and then we will pass the mic around, meaning that you'll unmute yourself if you have any questions. But the most powerful thing that you really, really said to us is that knowledge and action equals power. Acting on the knowledge that you have, acting on the appreciation of what it is that you have and what it is that you're seeing, and just being grateful, is very, very important. Just saying thank you. And people don't really understand the values and what just thank you just says to a lot of people. Just to say thank you. It means so much to so many people, and we take it for granted. Like you're saying, you've paid your Wi-Fi. You should be able to just carry on with your day, put the phone down and just carry on. But the fact that you actually went back and said thank you, it really made somebody's day. And it's those simple little things that we are grateful for that make everyone's day. Let me just check if we've got any questions. Okay, Dr. Benjamin, would you like to say something?
An excellent day. How are you doing?
Well, thanks, and you?
Oh man, I'm doing amazing. I'm grateful. Thank you so much for asking.
Happiness.
Awesome. So let me go ahead and do that. I was asked to start my video, so let me do.
Yes.
And I'm so grateful that I have an opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to just say a few words here this afternoon. I'm really grateful and thankful for Dr. Joshua Awesome being inspired to actually bring forth such a conference and such a platform for us to mind our mind. And as Arinola so eloquently and so rightfully put it, this is a wonderful time to mind our mind. I really enjoyed your talk. It was really beautiful. Thank you. I picked up a number of things. You're not grateful because you're happy. It's your gratitude that brings about your happiness. So, in terms of just sharing for a few minutes, I know I'm not one of the speakers here today, but just to share an attitude of gratitude, right? An attitude of gratitude. Hear that phrase, a lot of people say that. And thank you, Joshua Awesome, by the way, for asking me to just share a couple of minutes. So thank you. Not a question per se, Arinola, but just to share something, because I have a conference coming up at 3 that I have to speak in. So an attitude of gratitude. We always hear that, people always display an attitude. Everybody has an attitude. And I broke that word down, both attitude and gratitude, into acronyms. I call them acronyms. It's an acronym, but I did it universal, and I call it a acronym. So the word attitude A stands for articulating, TD, right? The attitude, right? Articulating thoughts. So A stands for articulating, T stands for thoughts, I indicating. The other T stands for the, and then the I stands for indicating deep underlying emotions, all right? So articulating thoughts, indicating the underlying deep emotions, attitude. So if we look at it, a person's attitude just indicates their underlying deep emotions. So when someone has a negative attitude, it is their deep emotions that they're actually expressing. Now, gratitude is a grateful response amidst the issues that unsettle during experiences. So if we look at the word gratitude, grateful responses amidst the issues that unsettle during experiences. So it's being able to rise above the experience and express something from a positive state. And one of the practices that I've used, and I've taught other people to use it as well, is to use gratitude as 3 stages. First is to be grateful in comparison. I call it comparison gratitude, where you could be grateful because you have something that somebody else currently doesn't have. Maybe you have a food, you have water, and somebody else doesn't have it. You're above ground, someone else is underground. So you could be grateful for something. And then that small thing that you pick up and become grateful for, that becomes now the doorway for you to start maturing to where you're grateful for your challenges and the difficulties that are in your life that help you to bring out deeper qualities and essences of the spirit or the soul that need those challenges to birth themselves in our life experiences. So we don't push things away, we don't see anything as against, we always see everything as for us when we're actually in the second state of gratitude until we mature to the point where we're in the third space where we're just grateful. And your gratitude is not connected to an experience, it's not connected to something you're anticipating in the future. It's just the inner state of being that bubbles up on your face as a smile, and you say, like my friend in here, you know, that was just dancing like crazy. So I'm so grateful and thankful for this opportunity to just say a few words. Thank you so much for the gift of your life to us, and the radiance of your being, and the luminosity and the brilliance of your being coming through this Zoom, and just continue to do the great work you're doing. And Dr. Joshua Awesome, you know, namaste to you, my brother, and you know, I bow to the greatness in you. I absolutely bow to it. And thank you so much for including me in this conversation. And I hand it back to you, our gracious, wonderful host. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Harry. Arinola, I have one question for you. You know, you touched a bit on the time that we're in right now, you know, in terms of the COVID, the coronavirus, which is really throughout the whole world. And where you are starting, like you're saying, you know, we're seeing different people doing different things. And people are so grateful just to be alive that they are willing to give of themselves, you know, they are willing to make offerings, which is something that is very rare, that you hardly ever see. When everybody and the world is okay with everything and everybody's healthy and, you know, everything is okay with what's happening in the world, you know, people get busy with their own lives and they don't think about the next person. They don't think about the next person. They don't consider the fact that, you know, maybe the person down the road hasn't eaten. Whereas now you're seeing our celebrities, everybody's going around offering food to people who don't have. But the one thing that we're seeing as well is that our doctors who are in the front line are taking this very, very hard. So in terms of your knowledge and the business that you're in terms of being a wellness coach, what would be some of the things that you would say to some of our doctors who are taking it so hard, the experience and being on the front line? What would your advice be to them?
Okay, so for these doctors, we're so grateful to them, the nurses, all the people on the front line. The truth is you matter in the equation. So even if it's 3 to 4 minutes to connect back with their heart. So these days, meditation doesn't have to be 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, or sitting on a mat. There's some scientific forms of meditation that tells you that if you can just connect with your heart, like the heart mat that I said, if you can connect for 3 minutes, it actually rejuvenates you. It just brings you back to life. But the problem is that most times we're in our heads, but the heart is more powerful than the brain. And it's the heart that sends the signals to the brain. But most times, because of the busyness of life, that's busy, busyness, we forget to connect with the heart. And the truth is, the way we feel affects the people around us too, because we're just emitting that frequency and those feelings around. So what I would advise them to do is, maybe when you're in the bath, at least they take their bath, they still brush their teeth, create like 3 minutes. The first thing is, the minute you close your eyes, you're sending a signal to your brain that, hey, I need to cool down. So even if it's just for 3 to 4 minutes, connect with your heart. And when you touch it, when you're actually touching your heart, it's also another signal that, hey, I'm coming here. And then you begin to feel your heart beat. You remember you're human as well. So you begin to feel yourself. And that's like 6 hours. They say if you can do that every 6 hours, that's like medication for 6 hours. They say merry heart, make it good like medicine. That's medication. And then your immune system is immediately boosted just by connecting back to your heart. It's more powerful than all the vitamin C's I've been drinking when this issue for immunity. And then, they, but they also know to create a bit of space for themselves. So, but meditation, closing your eyes, being alone for 3 to 4 minutes, it's a good one, and it connects them back. Because if they are not centered, we don't also want them to make mistakes, the prescriptions they're making or what they're doing for the people. So medication is a very strong thing. And then also remembering to be grateful that they have this knowledge, they have the skills to help other people. Because like we've said, gratitude is amazing. And then when they even thank God, or when they thank God for that patient, so this one would also be healed, because they say what you give, when you give gratitude in advance, it's also a good way to call that thing to you. Or they begin to say to themselves or affirm to themselves, oh, I'm going to get some rest very soon. I'm going to get a few hours off. So it all goes back to the person, to the mind, to take responsibility for your health in your hands, because nobody else will come and do it for you.
Thank you very much, Arinola. Dr. Awesome, do you have any questions for Arinola? Dr. Awesome, do you have any questions? Anyone have questions for Arinola?
All right. Let me first and foremost thank you for your presentation. I'm smiling, but also shaking my head because it looks as if you stole into my book. I actually have a book. I have a book that is upcoming, and we spoke about it when I last saw you last year. And it's quite interesting to hear how you have unpacked it. My question is, when you are not feeling all of this goodness and gratitude, how do you handle your day?
It's difficult. You just have to reframe your mind. because nothing is going to serve you in that downtrodden part of emotions. You know, when it becomes just part of you, or the best thing you can do, because there's no point feeling sorry for yourself. So you either need to go take a few minutes to, what I do is I plug on my earphones and I begin to listen to the affirmations I made for that morning, because that changes, or you listen to music because that changes the atmosphere. It takes only 6 seconds to reprogram and reboot and be where you want to be. So that's where the awareness and consciousness comes in. You must have your go-to space or go-to thing to do to refire. You might not get to 100%, but you won't be going down and then become a soaked bread to everybody around you. So that's how I get back to my groove. Music, meditation, the word, your affirmations, and it's self-help. It's self-help. Nobody's going to do it for you. And you don't need to inflict everybody around you with your downturn in emotions. We don't need that. You're supposed to enter a place and there's joy, and you begin to become more resourceful, because when you get to that state, you are unresourceful and you can become ill, because studies have even shown that a lot of the negative emotion, arthritis, some cancers and all of that, they're due to emotions of unforgiveness, resentment, and this. It's not anything else. So once you're conscious of that, and you know you want to live a long, fulfilled, positive life, you make sure that you catch yourself before you let the ball drop.
Wow. Yeah? Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much, Arinola. I'm going to hand back to Dr. Awesome for a few words. And one thing that I'd like to say is thank you for those amazing words. You know, I think there's a lot that we really, really take for granted. And, you know, you go to a wellness center and you think, I'm just here to relax for a couple of hours, but then I'm going to go back into the hustle and bustle, and forget that you are actually there for a purpose, you know, and forget to be grateful for those few minutes that you are actually out of the hustle and bustle, and just to carry that feeling with you, like you were saying, you know, whatever it is that you feel and what you carry with you actually radiates, and you exude whatever it is that you're feeling. So I'd like to say thank you very much. We don't have any questions for you from everyone else, but I'm going to hand over to Dr. Joshua for a couple of words. He has a couple of words for you.
Thank you so much again. And we deeply appreciate you coming through and sharing your perspective, your thoughts. The one thing that I'd like to just say to you is that you being committed to this for us means a lot. And we know a whole lot is happening all over the place. People are not able to commit to a whole lot of things because of the challenges they are facing. And it's not an easy season, really. But I just wanted to express profound gratitude. Thank you for the thoughts. Thank you for the time. And thank you for starting with the fireball that you started with, you know, that I feel good. It's quite interesting. That's a song that I love. And typically when we finish events, I usually like to close with that and get everybody to get into a dance mode of gratitude for the opportunity that we've shared, the life that we have, and a whole lot more around that. All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So I'd like to just take a moment now and just, go into my short presentation. If you're just joining us, thank you for taking time to be here. We actually have one more presentation. And there's a house rule while you're in the meeting. Everybody's recommended or advised to switch off their video so that we have excellent bandwidth for everybody else to be able to enjoy. All right, so I'd like to just straight ahead share my screen and then focus on my slides, which, okay. Okay, I don't know what is happening. But let's see. There we go. All right, so here we are. So we've just had Ariola finish her presentation, and I'd like to just take us to my presentation. So I'd like to start by talking about something very exciting for me. And why is it exciting? It's exciting because
so here we are.
So we've just had
Ariola finish her presentation, and I'd like to just take.
So I'm going to focus on the very first slide that I have on the screen. I'm not sure if you can see this. All right, so my sincere apologies. I think I was having some technical challenges there, but I think I've got it right now. Okay, great. So first off, every day when I wake up, the first thing that I am grateful for is my two gifts, my eyes. And the fact that I can see, and then I'm able to breathe. I can feel my fingers, I can feel my toes, and then I get up from my bed and I put my feet on the ground. That is the first thing that I do on a regular basis. And the reason why I'd like to start with that is because as human beings, when we begin our day with gratitude, it more or less helps us to blossom. So that's why I put up this quote. And the photograph you see on the screen with me taking off there. So that's how I fly into my day. And so gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul. My book that I'm writing, it's called In Pursuit of Purpose, Peace, and Progress. And the one thing that I began to talk about in the chapter where I was referring to Ariola's presentation was the fact that I talked about sleep and how when we sleep and we wake up, it's different from getting up. So we wake up, but many people, when they wake up, they don't get up from bed. So you might wake up at 5 and then you realize you get up at 5:30 or maybe 6. In other words, that time between wake up and get up, there's a whole lot of gratitude that you can inject, ingest, experience, express. And that's why I wanted to just take a moment to start with this, where we bring ourselves to that place where we flower, as it were, and flourish with gratitude so that we are grounded. Now, if you received the message that brought you to this conference or this meeting, you remember a quote that I shared. And the reason why I'm referring to it is because it is so important. It's important not just for me, but it's important for every one of us in this time and in this season. And it says, whatever we weave energy around animates and emerges into our lives. So again, back to Ariola's presentation. She talked about how when clients are about to leave her spa, they want to express gratitude to them and they sing. But what is also important is that all of that is energy that then animates itself into our lives and then emerges eventually in our own life. So here's my actionable advice. Every day you wake up, instead of just scrolling through your phone, who's WhatsApp me, who sent me an SMS, what email is waiting for my attention, decide that you will do what I call a gratitude grant. In other words, the same way the human mind expects karma of all the negatives that you have done to come back to you, how about to begin to see karma from a positive light, where the good that you express eventually gets impressed into your life, into your DNA, into your health, into your destiny. And there's something scientific about what I just explained. There's a part of our body called the autonomous nervous system. It's linked to our spinal cord. When you express joy, gratitude, positive energy, what it does is that your autonomous nervous system registers it as done. So let me give you an example. While you're listening to me right now, if you get a text that a family member of yours has just had a baby, or somebody has clinched a deal that they've been expecting or waiting for, even though you haven't seen the person, just the SMS or the WhatsApp message or the email shots excitement into your being. And by that excitement, it floods your entire body. And here's the flip side of it. Your cells begin to eavesdrop on those thoughts that you have received. And then it begins to show on your skin. What am I trying to say? A gratitude grant is something that when you let it out, you eventually receive it back. So can I ask you to take this as an actionable advice? Tomorrow morning when you wake up, send out a text, WhatsApp, or make a phone call to somebody and basically let them connect with what you are wanting to share that is good. Share something good with them. Let that good be a gift of sorts. And that is what I call the gratitude grant. So having said that, I'd like to move to my conclusion. My conclusion, I'd like you to right now take a moment and just drop a message in the chat. How many people are you going to message or send a good, positive message to? I'd like to move. Please type in the chat. While you're also doing that, I want you to also make a list of how many gratitude grants you are going to send tomorrow and commit yourself to it and put it in the chat. All right, so you will notice that just by committing yourself to that action step, it's bringing you closer towards achieving it, because there's a mental muscle that is connected to your veins. So just by writing it and typing it and taking action, you've sent it out. Some way, somehow, you'll be able to commit yourself to it. Now, I'd like to begin to close with something I believe every one of us needs to realize. It's not going to be easy. And if we think it's going to be easy, then we're not being real with ourselves. In the midst of all of these challenges, if you who is on this call has not experienced any form of challenges, then I don't think you're being honest. So every one of us is going to have it challenging. And in the midst of the challenge, that is when we also need to be real. We need to feel what we are feeling, but also recognize that we need to be grateful. Be grateful for those that sometimes have some interesting attitude that we don't feel is helpful. That is the nature that we need to nurture. And why do I say this? If your heart is going straight, then you are dead. But if your heart is experiencing something like this, then you are still alive. So I'd like to close with what I would call the gratitude challenge. And my ask of everybody is that from the 1st of June, every day, document one thing that you are grateful for. Document it and put it out there. Maybe put it as a text, put it as a WhatsApp, put it on Instagram, Facebook, or LinkedIn, wherever you are part of. But bear in mind that as you put it out, you are doing what I said earlier. You are expressing energy. And as that energy is being expressed, it animates and emerges into your own life back. See it as positive karma, because it's funny, many people have only seen karma as negative. See it as some good that will come back to you because you put it out. Again, as I close, remember when we started, I said, gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul. When you wake up with gratitude and you put your feet on the ground, you're really, really grounding yourself in gratitude. And as you do that, the one thing that begins to emerge is that gratitude energy sends you on a path that will produce possibilities. Here's my final thoughts. There is nothing that you're grateful for that will not flower and flourish and flow back to you. So I hope that my thoughts has helped somebody out there or will help anybody who will watch this. I'd like to, at this point now, pass it back to our chairperson, Teboho Ngoyi, to basically just take charge of the conversation. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Awesome. And thank you very much for the time that everyone has spent with us. You know, as Dr. Awesome has said, that there's always positive karma, and we always look at it as, you know, our standard is if it's karma, karma comes back to you and karma comes to haunt you. But there is positive karma. And the minute you start being grateful and start appreciating who you are, your reality, and your main purpose, that is when you start experiencing the positivity, which is the positive karma. I would like everyone to please unmute their mics, and just so that if we can just go around, just to say, you know, what it is that you're grateful for today. And also, besides what it is that you're grateful for just appreciating your presence. You know, we speak about just you being present is more important than anything else. The time that you've taken, I mean, this is time away from your family, time away from your loved ones. Just for you to say, from us to you, we are very grateful and thank you very much for making the time. So I would like us to just go around and just, as a parting shot, what are you grateful for? And what is one of the things that you are really, really appreciative of during this trying time that we're experiencing right now? I'll start with Yinka. It is Yinka. With Yinka. Yes, I'll start off with Yinka.
I'm grateful to be alive during this time. And I'm grateful because, as Doctor was saying, this time usher in a lot of opportunities. Some people will not see the opportunities, but I'm seeing greater opportunities at this present in time. So I'm thanking God for that, because some of the things that we have been trying to do for a very long time, if I want to take your time, there was a time about 10 years ago, I wanted to do a summit. And the thing that was stopping me from doing those summits is because I could not afford to pay Santee Convention Center for the deposit they're asking for. But with this Corona thing, we don't need to book anything. We don't need to book their place. It's 16:30. I can equally organize that project that I put aside because I could not afford to pay. I could now do it virtually online without paying. They were asking for maybe about 30,000 rand then for deposit. So I don't need to pay anybody deposit. I just need to organize myself, do everything virtual, online. And so that's one of the greatest things that happened with this thing, because we have to see opportunity in adversity. And there's this book, I will stop that. That book is said is Obstacle is the Way, is the title of that book. Tim Ferriss is, telling people to go and buy it now, but I have the book before. So, and in that book, the man said, every obstacle that comes our way, there's always a way out. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Yinka. Nati, if you would like to just give us a moment in terms of what you're grateful for.
Oh, yes. Me, I'm grateful for life. Okay, let me start there. Some of you know that, okay, my wife was admitted now. She's back at home. So that's why I'm saying I'm grateful for life, really. You see, sometimes when we are not in your own space, or when we are not in that relaxed mode, you tend to take some decisions, irrational decisions. But then that's why I'm saying I'm thankful for life, and I'm thankful for my wife that she's back and everything is fine. So, and I thank God for that. It was really, if it wasn't God who had intervened in the whole operation thing, it would have been something else. But I thank the Lord for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Nati. Michael, I'm handing over to you for anything that you're grateful for. Okay, I'm going to move over to Arinola. Arinola, anything that you're grateful for in closing, just as we go around?
Okay, so I'm so grateful for being part of this session. I'm grateful for everybody that attended. Like you said, I'm grateful for making new friends. You're my new friend now.
Yes, definitely.
I love your hairstyle. It's so bold. So I'm grateful for you for your properly executing the session, moderating the session. So I'm grateful for the things I've also learned from the other two people that spoke. And I'm grateful for the last speaker, for his wife that is back at home.
Yes.
So every little thing counts. Nothing is too small to be grateful for.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Arinola. Thank you so much.
I'm grateful for the initiative by Dr. Joshua Awesome and his children that joined us in this session.
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Dolly?
Hello. I'm grateful for the session, first and foremost. I've learned a lot. I'm grateful for the food I ate today. I'm grateful for the internet. I'm grateful that I can communicate with my friends and family every day. And I'm grateful that we can uplift each other's spirits, because the one thing I realized for today, sometimes you forever give thanks, but gratitude is something else. You can say thanks because somebody's giving you something or you're getting a meal, but you also need to give gratitude to that you've been blessed to have things that other people wish or dream of. So yeah, I'm grateful for that.
Thank you very much, Dolly. Michael, are you with us?
Michael.
Okay, Michael doesn't seem to be with us. So my parting shot for today is a quote that I read, which says, "The most powerful weapon against your daily battles is finding the courage to be grateful." Like Dr. Awesome was saying to us, that if you are really, really honest with yourself and you're being true to who you are, and you're saying that during this difficult and trying time, you have really not experienced a battle, you have really not experienced any form of hardship, then you need to honestly take a step back and say, okay, where am I in this world with all the challenges that we're going through? And this quote really does that for me. It says, just have the courage to be grateful, just to overcome that battle, because on a daily basis, we've got a lot of people that are experiencing different battles and different challenges. Just that courage to be grateful for just the little and the tiniest thing that you've just experienced. That for me would says a lot, and your sense of appreciation as well will make you actually make it through the day, because you're grateful for something, because you're looking forward to another day. That is my parting shot. I'd like to hand back to Dr. Awesome.
So I'd like to just conclude with something very, very important. When I woke up today, as I thought about this conference, the one thing that I said to myself was, is it only good thing that I should be grateful about? No. I think I should also be grateful for my challenges. Why? The reason is because if your challenges don't find you fit, they won't be assigned to you. And as the African Institute of the Mind, that will be our focus for next month's Mind Your Mind Masterclass. I will be sharing from a closed network that I have access to, and it stems from medicals who are, doing a whole lot of work, are in the front line around this time. I am privileged to be doing some work also in South Africa around this time with the South African Police Services and a couple of other clients of ours in the midst of this coronavirus. But here's the interesting thing. I am also having my own challenges. And guess what? I am not ashamed of it. The reality is that when we feel that we should be shameful about our challenges, then we get to experience what I call the ostrich mentality. And it is something that I will unpack next month, which a friend and a colleague who's part of the CHA in the US that I'm privileged to be part of, and we had a session yesterday, and he began to explain how many of us are going through what we call experiential avoidance. We're trying to avoid the experience. But in trying to avoid it, we are missing out the message. We are missing out the moments. We are missing out the opportunity to seize, to be softly taught in the midst of it. Because we don't have a script to manage this crisis. It has never happened. So don't try to manage it. Just be present. And in being present, you will realize that just like Mountain Kilimanjaro, you are able to summit it either going up, around, beside, even though they haven't created a path under, but there's always a way. I thank you all for being part of this. My name is Joshua Awesome. We thank everyone who's a part of the African Institute of the Mind. And thank you to our speaker, Ariola, and also Dr. Harry Benjamin. We look forward to hosting you, your friends, your family next month end for another opportunity where we help you mind your mind to your success. Thank you all. Bye for now.